made at such a short notice. Dr. Nkululeko, the President's spokesperson, will address this question.
Thank you very much. Manchester United 1, Manchester City 0. Isn't that good news? It was likely to win anyways. Back to the serious business. It's election season, and we think that it is important to update the country and especially the media on how the election is going. The President certainly values the fact that you are constantly informed. The first thing is that he feels encouraged that the Zimbabweans seem to have turned out in very large numbers across the country, and that it is evident on the streets that most Zimbabweans have taken this election seriously. He is excited that the people of this country have shown remarkable resilience. Waking up in the early hours of the day, starting to queue as early as 6 this morning, hours before the voting started. Of course, you then notice long winding queues in some instances, which continue to be moving in some instances fairly slowly. He is also encouraged that the voting process has been largely peaceful, and thinks that this indicates a growing maturity and tolerance amongst Zimbabweans, and that perhaps this may also reflect a clearer choice in the election. But however, the President also notes that despite the maturity shown by citizens, the running of the electoral process itself continues to have irregularities. There are reports of pre-marked ballots that the President is concerned about, is worried that queues in urban areas remain very slow, that they're moving fairly slowly compared to queues elsewhere. He also notes that there are numerous tactics to frustrate the voter and make sure that the voter doesn't finish voting. There are also reports that chiefs and headmen have been used as polling officers in some instances. The President is concerned about this and the impact that this may have on the rights of citizens to vote without intimidation. Regardless of the above, the President has a very, very clear message to the people in the country and in the world. He knows that it is very clear to him that Zimbabweans will be today going through one of their last long queues, and that they must be encouraged, therefore, to continue in the queues that they are in today, because it is necessary to do so to prevent further queues in the future. And that regardless of that, he is very confident that after this there will be reason to celebrate, and that cities across this country will be flooded by Zimbabweans celebrating a clear victory. The President is leading a party that is in charge of this country in many ways, and the party is addressing all of the above mentioned instances of voter irregularities and attempts to manipulate the election. We are receiving various reports, as I have said. He is encouraging Zimbabweans not to be discouraged by the concerns, as his teams, the President's teams, are dealing with them wherever and whenever they arise. The President wants to say to Zimbabweans that do not be discouraged by messages from others. Go into the polling station, inspect your ballot paper, and put your own X on it. Let us all be polling agents. If you see any irregularities or pre-marked ballots, immediately report these and demand a clean ballot. Don't go away without casting your vote. The President says to Zimbabweans that we will continue to demand that polling officers assist voters expeditiously so as to allow the voting process to continue smoothly and to finish on a high note tonight. The President notes with gratitude that we have many well-wishers across the country who have been providing fellow voters who remain in the queues with water, food, and drinks. The President would like to encourage more citizens to join in and help those who remain in queues, thirsty, hungry, but willing to cast their vote. The President encourages Zimbabweans to remain focused, to be resilient, to stand their ground in order to build a strong and everlasting country. Remember always that as long as you are in a queue at 7 p.m., you will not be turned away without casting your vote. Therefore, do not be discouraged by the slow-moving queue. Stay in, hold up, and remember you are the last fortress to defend this country's right to democracy. With that, I thank you, and the President is very confident that this victory is certain if we stay focused and vote today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take any questions if there are any.
I'm a finance journalist. There are posts that ZEC reported your president to the police. What's your comment about that?
The President has already addressed that question earlier on today, but I will repeat what he said, which is also true. The fact is that the President, that ZEC seems not to understand the law. That explains why there are so many irregularities in the voting process and how they think they've run this election. But what is really shocking is that the President had a press conference yesterday. His team had a press conference yesterday in his attendance. And on the other side, you had President ED setting out a clear campaign message in response to former President Mugabe's press conference. And what we haven't seen is ZEC attempting to get President ED arrested. Now, that doesn't do ZEC a great deal of good, because it seems very clear from that vantage point that they are not attempting to run an election in which they're acting as an independent umpire, that they're simply chasing one of the teams, and they're always ready to whistle when they think they have a chance to frustrate one of the players. So clearly, we will not take that seriously. It is contemptible that they did that, when in fact what they should have done is contrast a press conference with a political statement, a campaign statement that was made by President ED yesterday in response to President Mugabe's press conference. And I'm sure that this is very clear to everybody else. Zimbabweans know they can make a difference between the two.
Thank you. Any other question?
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. God bless you.
Salut.